Hey guys, we're back for another Warchant, talking about some of the great games in Florida State history, and we're joined by senior writer and historian, Florida State historian Corey S. Clark, joining us from the northern office,
Right.
little northeast of Atlanta, right? You got set up there.
Northeast of Atlanta, Beaufort, Georgia.
There you go, from beautiful Beaufort, Georgia, this time of year, and we got a good one. We're trying to figure out a good game to talk about. We've done some really good ones, but I look back, we ain't done any from the '93 season, which is crazy. That Florida State's first national championship season, and had nothing from that game. And there's obviously some good ones to pick from. But that Florida game really struck me, and I think we'll talk about one of the most famous, could be the biggest play in FSU history. And again, that's something we'll talk about that later. If that play to seal that game was maybe the biggest individual play in Florida State history. And we're going to be joined by one of the stars of the game, and that's Kez McCorvey, who had 2 touchdowns in that game against them. We're talking about the Florida Gators, 1993 in the Swamp. And that was the game you needed to finally play for the national championship. You had to get past that one hurdle. And, Corey, before we really talk about that game a little bit, just the landscape of 93, because those years prior, Bobby Bowden had the moniker, he couldn't win the big one.
Mm-hmm.
It was always to that point. And you thought 93, the preseason #1, but when they lost that game up in South Bend, you go, here we go again. But they got a second life with Notre Dame being upset by Boston College. But what a crazy season that was.
Yeah, it was nuts. So what I remember is after Florida State lost to Notre Dame, they only dropped to #2 in one of the polls. So there was talk after that week. Okay, is there going to be a rematch in the Fiesta Bowl? Obviously, Notre Dame would have pushed hard against that,
and they would have played Nebraska. They weren't going to bump Nebraska. Was going to get it.
Yeah, so I think when Florida State was still ahead of Nebraska in one of the polls, which is really bizarre,
yeah.
But they were, especially. But yes, I think as the season wore on, those next 2 weeks, Nebraska would have moved ahead of Florida State, and then it would have been Notre Dame and Nebraska, or Notre Dame, West Virginia, because West Virginia was undefeated. Yeah. They threw a wrench into things. So there were 2 undefeated teams. West Virginia wasn't taken all that seriously because of their schedule, but Nebraska was. And so when Notre Dame lost to Boston College, Florida State came out that next game and beat – I think it was later that night. It was later that night. That was a night game. Notre Dame lost the 3:30 game or whatever in the Florida State played at 8 and beat NC State, I want to say 62-3.
That sounds right. Yeah, they blew the doors off in that game. My memory of that is we were down the road and my buddy were drinking beers at the Hoggly Woggly. Remember that down on the corner there?
Yeah.
And so we're drinking that, playing, I think, shuffleboard, and then watching the Notre Dame, and that place went bananas when, the field goal was made at the end of BC won, and everybody just ran out in the street celebrating because you knew Florida State was definitely right back.
You had gotten a reprieve in so many times, 91, 92, literally the same exact scenario had been in place, 87, 88. All these scenarios had been in place where all you needed was a team to slip up, a team that was undefeated to slip up for you to sneak in the national championship game, and it never happened. It never happened. Miami always won, mainly Miami, or Alabama always won. So whoever you were hoping to lose never did. So when that actually happened and Florida State gets a second life, well, they showed how much it mattered to them against NC State. But still, you go into that Florida game, man, and there's no guarantee. There just isn't. It's an important game. Florida's good. Florida's probably the second best team on the schedule, and it's in the Swamp where they didn't lose often, especially back then. And I remember Bobby Bowden being interviewed by Deckerhoff after the game, and after the Florida game, and he's like, "Look," he goes, "I'd look at the film, and I'd be like, okay, we're pretty even. They're really good. Their offense is really good. Their kicking game and our kicking game is about the same. Their defense and our defense is about the same." He goes, "But we got Charlie and they don't." That was what he kept telling himself that week to let him sleep at night, is we got Charlie and they don't. And that's how it kind of played out. Florida State had the best player in the country. Florida didn't.
Yeah, no, you're right. They were #7, Florida, going into that game. Their only loss that season is 3 points, and was at Auburn. And you look, and after Florida State, They rolled in the SEC. I think they beat Alabama. And
by the way, that was another one of those SEC games in the 90s that we always remember because it wasn't on TV. Because one of the SEC participants was on probation. So we couldn't watch the game.
And then the aforementioned West Virginia, Florida would go ahead and pummel them in the bowl game, which they did Florida State a favor that year. How about that? They lost to Florida State at home, and then they went and beat if there was any, I don't know if there would have been a split poll, but you would have been hearing a lot of crying about West Virginia had they beat Florida in the bowl game. Then I think you would have had some people would have been pushing for a split crown that year.
It would have been interesting only because if West Virginia had beaten Florida like Florida State had beaten Florida. Now, I know it got really close late, but Florida State dominated this game we're about to talk about for a large percentage of it. But if West Virginia had beaten Florida by 2 touchdowns, then, yeah, I can see how voters would be like, okay, that's the one common opponent. They both played them similarly, but West Virginia is also undefeated.
And look at this timing, just on cue, joining us. Hope you can hear us, Kez.
Hey,
there he is.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine, man. We got Kez McCorvey. We're just I'm here with Corey Clark, and we're getting a lot of players on to talk about some great FSU games. And one of the ones we decided to talk about was that 1993 Florida game. And that was, we were just going through that history. I want to first ask you, first of all, Hall of Fame member 2005. All-American, Kez McCorvey, and then I know you're doing some great work with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes right now. Just kind of tell the FSU fans out there what you're up to these days.
Well, that's actually what I do. I'm with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's been awesome. I love getting the chance to build into our community. I love getting the chance to be across the North Florida region, and there's a couple things. I love sports and I love Christ, and so it's an opportunity for me to be able to combine them, because they are combined for me. And I love the involvement of the rest of my teammates. A lot of my teammates are involved in FCA as well, and so I have loved that. And then being involved with Florida State and campus too, and the FCA that's on the campus has been awesome. So I'm just enjoying myself, trying to be a good dad and a good husband, and work.
Well, that sounds good. And Kez, we're talking about first of all, before we talk about this game, this 93 season for you guys had to be so full of emotions. Your preseason number 1, you guys are rolling. You have the game of the century up in South Bend. We know that didn't turn out quite how you wanted to, but then less than a week later, all of a sudden, the euphoria is back up. You're right back in it, but you've got one stumbling block, obviously, in Florida at the end. But just before we even talk about that game, just talk about kind of the ups and downs of being a player on that team.
Honestly, I mean, I don't know if you had any stress, a whole lot of stress. I mean, obviously, you don't win a Notre Dame game, and it seems like it's down. But really, it was an enjoyable season. I mean, you had guys on the team that had been together for a couple of years, and really, you had some good leadership. You had the stability at a position quarterback. You had stability on defense, and great guys on defense. I really don't recall any stress or any doubt in the mind of any of the guys that you weren't going to have a successful season. Did we think we were going to win the national championship game? National championship? Yes. That was, in our hearts and our minds, it was done already in our minds. You already believed that that's where we're supposed to be at. And so I think the only stress was when that doesn't happen, or when it seems like it's not going to happen, then there's stress. But the season, I mean, we just expected to be successful. We expected to score 50 points. We expected to beat everybody we played. We just expected that. So
going into that 93 season, you were already preseason number 1. You had all this talent coming back, and we're going to talk about him because of a play he made later in the game. But I wanted to ask you, when did you know about Warrick Dunn? When did you say, oh, man, because you were loaded at running back. You were loaded at everywhere on offense. I know Tiger McMillan got hurt, but you had Tiger McMillan. You had Sean Jackson. You had Marquette Smith, who had been like the National Player of the Year 2 years ago.
Let's go.
When did you guys first start talking about Warrick Dunn and be like, wow, that guy's different?
Well, there's a story behind that, too. Warrick, the year before, Warrick came up for a visit, and I wasn't supposed to be his host. It was supposed to be Sean Jackson. But for some reason, Sean Jackson couldn't be the host for Warrick Dunn. And so they asked me to be the host for Warrick Dunn. And so they worked in town, and he's a little old guy, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to do my job. I'm a team player. I'm going to recruit this guy, get him to come to Florida State and whatnot. And so I get him, and we get him after the meetings that they have, and I take him out and hang out a little bit, and then we come to my dorm room, and we sitting there, and he hadn't really said 2 words the whole night. You know how Warrick is already. Right. And he hadn't 2 words the whole night. And so we're sitting there and we're playing Madden football, and I'm beating his brains in. He don't want me to say that. He wouldn't like me to say it, but it's true. I'm beating his brains in Madden. And he finally says something. He says, Kez, they want me to play DB. And I don't want to play DB. I want to play running back. And so I said, just, in a cavalier way, man, let him tell him you want to play running back, man. Then tell him that's what you want to do. You want to play running back, and I'll come if I want to play running back. Well, the next morning he comes back and I hear him say, I hear that he's committed. And I said, well, great. That must be great. And then I hear the additional story, the story of his mother just passing. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. And so about a week before that visit, his mother had just been killed. And he didn't say a word about it the whole time we were together. Not a word. I didn't know. I'm like, wow. I mean, that guy, And so he gets there in the fall, and I got him, and I'll say, hey, Org, I got you. And then he's already roommates with Charlie, and so many people, so much stuff has happened, and we've heard the story and whatnot. And so it's great. You want to take care of him. But almost like the first day we had contact practice, and we had the ones go against the twos in a competitive practice. And so the ones we went against the twos, and we did our thing, and then the twos and threes got a chance to go against the ones. So Tiger McMillan had just gotten hurt, and a couple other players just got hurt. We had a series of injuries that happened, and Tiger McMillan was one of those guys. And so he went down, and so what it did, it opened the door for the younger guys. It was Marquette Smith and some other younger guys to get some reps behind Sean Jackson. And so he got in there, right? And I'm thinking, that's my guy. I recruited him. Yeah, Ward, man, go ahead, dude, go ahead. And he got in there, and all I heard was, zoom.
Yeah.
And he was gone about 60 yards. And I'm thinking, who is this guy? And then, like the next series, we did the same thing, like a practice scrimmage, and all I saw was zoom. What in the world was that? And my heart, as soon as that happened, I was like, this guy's gonna play right now. Mm-hmm. He's gonna play right now because he is explosive. And so that's when I knew right there in practice. I didn't know I was recruiting the kid and whatnot, and I was his friend, but But then when I saw him do that, I was like, wow, this guy is a bolt of lightning.
Yeah, and the rest of the country got to see it a lot over the next 4 years.
Yeah. Hey, and Kez, so you guys you stumbled Notre Dame. They lose to BC the next week. Then you guys absolutely paced NC State by like 60 points. You're right back. You're in control of the national championship game. There's one hurdle left to play for it, and that's going down to Gainesville. Steve Spurrier, really good Florida team, Danny Werfel, all that going on. At that point, you guys had to be like, you got the second chance. You're not going to blow it. To be able to play for the national. What's the feeling going into the Swamp for this game?
Well, really, we had so much confidence. Even after the Notre Dame loss, we had so much confidence that we didn't. The idea of going there and not being successful was not there. It just wasn't. The worst thing could have happened to us is being overconfident, because we weren't going to have a non-confident issue. We just cracked the code on the thing that's been our nemesis for the past couple, which was Miami. And so when you beat Miami, you beat the team that, the only team that's kind of caused you some pain over the past couple of years, and then you get to Florida, who you've beaten the last couple of years. You know what? It's going to be hard, but we got this.
When you go into that game, I was just talking to Gene about it before you joined. How much confidence do you have? I don't even want to word it that way. If everything else breaks down, if nobody else is playing well, or if the coaches aren't having a good game, how much security is there knowing, okay, we still got 17 back there taking snaps? He's going to let us lose again, and he is going to put us. He's going to drive us down the field. He's going to put points on the board. He's going to make plays in this game.
Dude, it's having 17 on your team is like this. It's like having an extra 500 pounds on the other person's back. It's like you just can't resist that. Over a period of time, it just wears you down to have that guy in the backfield playing quarterback for you, because it's like having an extra advantage. Okay, I get two queens. We're playing chess, and I get two queens. Right. That's what it's like. Really, honestly, that's what it's like. It's just so much pressure on you to be able to have to stop him from getting yards. You've seen quarterbacks that are like that. It's just almost impossible. It's like cheating to have that guy in the backfield. Okay, we're gonna throw the ball a lot, but then we got a guy that's the quickest, fastest guy around, most elusive guy around that can read coverages, and it's hard to blitz him. All right, and so you got that guy on your team. It's hard to game plan for him on defense.
Did you guys going into that game? Did you guys have like a game plan? I think Matt Fryer had like 11 catches. You had 7. Not all of them were long catches, they were all like first down makers. Did you guys have the game plan going in? We're gonna take it short. They're probably gonna play office, and we're gonna take a lot of short, a lot of mid-range, short to mid-range passes. Do you remember the game plan specifically going up against that Florida defense?
Well, we have a base thing that we always do because we were very good at. We were very good at getting first downs.
Yeah.
We were very good. If you had a number one third down team in America, that would probably be us. Because we were very good. If you give us 3 chances to get first down, we can get 10 yards. Now, we didn't always go deep. That wasn't our offense. Like Florida, they threw the ball deep. We, from 10 to 15 yards, we can execute well enough to complete a 10-yard ball almost on anybody in any situation. We've just trained to do that. And then we had enough home run hitters in the run game and then quarterback position right there where it was hard for people to stop that. And so we didn't go in with any kind of change of game plan, we really were going to look and see what Florida was going to do. And what Florida actually ended up doing was this right here. They ended up double teaming the inside guy. So I got double teamed a lot of the game on the inside. And it opened the door for Kevin and Matt on the outside to get a lot of balls too. And then on the other side. So it was me and Tamark on one side. And a lot of times what happens is a team would shift the defense over to our side. And then Kevin and Matt would catch a lot of balls, or they would keep it even. And the offense kind of went through to the front side. And so it wasn't necessarily a change of offense. It was really just, okay, what are they going to do? And then let's adapt.
So Kez, in the first half, you guys get a drive early in the first quarter. I think with Tamark Vanover has a touchdown. You guys go up 7-0. I remember from this, you had 2 other drives in that half. You got it down inside the 10-yard line, but both times you had to settle for a field goal, but you're completely controlling the game on both sides of the ball. And then Florida gets a touchdown before half, and it's 13-7. I remember sitting in that stadium going, man, Florida State is just dominating. They're only up 6 points. What was that locker room? Like you said, you had the confidence, so you still had to feel good about things. But what was the mood in the locker room? What was Coach Bowden? What was Coach Rick? What were they telling you guys then?
You know what? I mean, honestly, nothing. It was finish the drives. We got to make sure we finish drives. And Coach Bowden is the master of the non-complex halftime speeches. It's not like you're gonna get. Not gonna get the hypotenuse theory with Coach Bowden. Hey man, it's gonna be, hey man, if we stop them, if they don't score, we win.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense. Offense for the defense for the offense. Everybody for special teams. Let's go. And that was kind of the deal. I mean, Coach Bowden, and I love that about him because he didn't complicate things. He didn't complicate it. It's about effort. It's about want to. It's about passion. And I love that. So at halftime, we didn't have a whole lot. We knew we had practiced so hard. We had such great practices. We didn't have a situation where we felt uncomfortable that it wasn't necessary. We were just making adjustments.
I think so. If I remember correctly, Gene, you might be able to correct me. I think James Colsey has an interception early in the third quarter.
Well, they scored a touchdown first, and I want to ask.
So let's go to Kez's first touchdown.
Yeah, first, and it's important because it's the first drive of the second half. So you guys had that. So obviously, the first drive of the second half, you guys go right down, and you make and I vaguely remember it then. I went back and I saw the replay. In the left corner of the end zone, you get open. You must have it looked like you put a ridiculous move on the DB because he wasn't even in the picture when you caught the ball, and you kind of and Charlie laid it in there for you in the back of the end zone. Tell us about that play a little bit.
Well, I would love to take credit for it, but it's really they were I don't know what they were playing. They were playing like combo coverage, and the guy that was outside of me left me, and he left the inside guy having inside leverage, having to guard a corner out. They've given me so many touchdowns. Florida, thank you. Florida's given me so many touchdowns by doing that. I mean, the guy sitting way inside right there, and I just have to. You want me to run to the corner with this? And so it was a little bit of design and a little bit of Charlie's really his ability to make guys think that he's going somewhere else and looking guys off to get the ball over top. And that's what we did. The first one was just that, man. They were trying to double team. The guy on the outside came off me, and thank you. Thank
so
you.
when you see that, Kez, I assume by that time you had already played with Charlie for 2 full seasons at that point.
Yeah.
He had grown so much being able to read that stuff, especially out of the shotgun. He was just incredible. When you see that they've blown their coverage and that you're going to be open in the end zone, a lot of receivers maybe later on in Florida State's the next 15 years or so be like, man, I hope my quarterback sees me. Please see me. Please know that I'm wide open right here. But I doubt you had any doubt at all that 17 knows I'm open. He sees this. I'm going to turn my head, and the ball's going to be in the air coming towards me.
You know what? Almost, I can look back and I can say, you know what? I knew almost every time I was getting the ball. I can look at the defense, and I knew Charlie knew what he knew. He's in the same meetings I'm in, and he knew the context of the defense. And I knew when I was getting the ball. I can look at the defense and say, I'm getting this ball right now. This ball is coming to me. And I can see that, and because we have done it so many times. I mean, over the summer period of time, a year before, it's one thing when you have a quarterback that you've been with for 2 years. You know, if you have for 1 year, okay, you might be on the same page. If you have him for 2 years, you know what, and then you've been working together for so long, you know you're on the same page. And that's how I felt like myself and Charlie were. We were on the same page. I knew when the ball was coming in, okay, this guy's over here. Charlie's not going to throw this. I know he's not. He's not throwing. So I don't have to look around, turn around and look. But
right.
When the ball's supposed to be coming to you, I knew.
And so when a guy leaves outside leverage, y'all didn't know that pre-snap that he was going to do that.
No, we didn't know pre-snap. But
when you see that, I'm sure you're thinking, well, he saw it too. Charlie saw it too. This ball's coming. He's not going to miss this. He's not going to miss this wide open throw.
He's not going to miss it. He's not going to miss this wide open throw right here. And that, as a matter of fact, we're anticipating it though. You know, it was great design by the offense, because you know you put the cornerback in a situation. Does he stop this guy on the outside, or does he drop back and help this safety with bad leverage on me? And so the guy decided to play the outside guy and left me wide open. So it's really a design play.
Well, and I was going to say, we talked about him a little bit, so I looked it up. Matt Fryer had 11 catches in that game. I remember the year before, Kevin Knox had like 11 catches in the first half of the game. So what you guys would do would just throw those little short 7-yard outs to the outside wide receiver.
Yeah.
That sets up a play like that, right? Where the quarterback's like, man, I'm tired of Matt Fryer catching balls in front of me. I'm going to go cover it.
It absolutely does. You know what? And we were patient enough. So like a lot of teams are not patient enough to take that. And so that year, that was our game. We would do that all the time. We would complete the ball underneath a gazillion times, and we would drive the ball down the field. And we were going fast, but we would have a 10-play drive and under 2 minutes. But it would be a 10-play drive of 10 receptions and 3 runs and 10 passes. I mean 6 passes or whatever. And so that was our offense. It was really a dink and dunk offense. It was really West Coast-ish style of offense.
Charlie was great for it too. I think maybe because of the basketball background. Sometimes the simple pass is the best pass. Hey, Cassell's open the corner. You don't have to throw it 1,000 miles an hour. Get it to him in the pocket where he can make a shot. I feel like that had a lot to do with it too. He would just whatever teammate was open was the right pass.
Dude, you know what? This is the thing right here is I think a lot of people, they miss on Charlie. They think he was he's a great runner. He was elusive. He was the best I've ever seen at manipulate defenders, hold defenders. You got underneath defenders. It was almost impossible to be able to see him and see his eyes and manipulate him. It was impossible to do that for him. And so he was great at that. If people could go back and look at that film and see how he read defenses and read underneath defenders, that's at an elite level. Mm-hmm. Most guys can't do that. Most guys, the linebacker will fool him and he'll throw the pick and, it's going to, man, what did he do? He doesn't see that guy. And Charlie just doesn't do that.
Right.
So, Kez, in the game there, you guys, as Corey mentioned, Colsey has the interception. Both sides throw an interception. Colsey interception. You got some momentum going. You score again on the other side of the end zone, but it looked like the exact same thing. Again, you're wide open. You would think for once they would cover you after you just got a touchdown on them, that they would, hey, don't worry about that guy. We'll just leave him up in the end zone again. And you just simply, a little pitch and catch, another touchdown. You guys go up 27-7.
Well, this is what I can do for you right here. I can tell you a lie. Or I can tell you the truth. The lie would be that, I'm so smooth and so bad that they just can't cover me. The truth is, they busted the coverage again.
Sweet. Whatever it takes, man.
Whatever it takes, man. So we got a play. We call it fire. And so we would line up quickly when teams are trying to move people on and off the field, or they're not ready. And we call fire. We line up quick as we possibly can, like people do now. Back then they didn't do it. They didn't do it as much, but we did it. So we call fire. We line up quickly as possibly can. And guess what? They're playing zone. The safety's out leveraged right here. The corner's over there by himself, guarding the receiver on the other side. You have a guy that's over me, but guess what? He's in no man's land, and so I go up and run a corner. The safety starts chasing me. The corner comes down on the outside guy, and happy birthday for Kez. Happy birthday.
So the thing, though, Kez, is that I don't want people to think that you just lucked into touchdowns. I remember specific. I mean, you were an All-American the next year. You had a bunch of catches that year. You were really kind of Charlie's go-to guy in '93. Vanover got all the hype before the season because he was incredible in '92, but you became kind of the main guy. When you did have one-on-one coverage in the red zone, I remember specifically a Duke game. It might have been the next year when Duke was supposed to be pretty good, and you played them. They might have been undefeated when you played them. And you had 2 touchdown catches where you made the cornerbacks fall down when you made like an inside move, then an outside move real quick.
Yeah.
That is just God-given. That you could manipulate your body in a way that if you sold it like I'm running a slant, and then on a dime you cut back. How much of that is work? How much of that is just God-given natural ability to be able to manipulate your body like that at that speed?
Well, you know what? I train receivers, but to do that. But I believe it's a combination. You know, because I learned it myself. Really, I was a baseball player until I got to high school. Got to high school, and then I got on the football field, and I got some guys that were really good around me. You know, every day if you practice, and every day the person that you go against since you're in 5th grade was named Terrell Buckley, you're gonna get pretty good. And so
Yeah.
I grew up, and we were always on the opposite team. We were always guarding each other for so many years. And then I had friends. I had really good athletes on my team, and a lot of guys I really just adopted a lot of the technique. But I learned it. I would be remiss to say, but I learned it. But yes, I was really good at that. When I got to Florida State, we ran a regular offense. I played X. And we really didn't utilize a lot of the skills I had. I was a 6'1" with super long arms, you know, probably a 6'6" arms wingspan, but I had feet like I was 5'8", right? And I was quicker than everybody else. Had great body control. I was really a point guard. And then when the slot position opened up, it was just like it was made for you. I'm bigger than most. If they put a nickel there, I'm bigger than him. I'm stronger than him. I'm still as quick as he is. But if they put a linebacker there, that linebacker ain't got a chance.
Right.
You know, and so he ain't got a chance over there. And so it was, for me, it was perfect timing of us going into the shotgun because he just took advantage of the skills I had. You know, and so when I went over there, it was just like, this was what I was made to do.
Right.
So, Kez, you guys get this big lead. It looks like it's over, and then fourth quarter, Florida mounts a rally. I mean, obviously with Spurrier and they're a great team, they were gonna make a run at you. I guess it was inevitable. And it looks like a couple times you guys have a chance to put the game away. I believe William Floyd fumbles at the 9-yard line, and you guys the game's over at that. Even a field goal, I think, puts it away at that point. You guys fumble there, and then Florida converts several 4th downs, and then I don't know if it was Dean or Warfel, but they throw in a double coverage.
Yeah, the
Jack gets tipped to Jack Jackson in the end zone, and that place goes ballistic. I mean, they're only down 6 points. You've been dominating the game. And I want to ask you this. You've been in a lot of stadiums. I remember in that stadium sitting there covering my ears because I think that's the loudest I'd ever heard a stadium. What do you feel on the sideline? I mean, what is that place like on the sideline when it's 27-20, whatever it was, that 27-21, I guess?
Well, you know, I got to take you back some history because I just told you about me and Terrell growing up together and all that kind of good stuff. And we fought like cats and dogs, me and Terrell. We just fought like – but there's another person in that story too. His name is Jack Jackson. Yeah. And so Jack Jackson, we all grew up together. We played Little League baseball together.
I didn't know he was from Mississippi. I didn't know Jack Jackson was from Mississippi.
Yes, he's from Mississippi. He went to our rival school. And so I've been competing against Jack the same way for years. Jack was a year younger than me. Obviously, Terrell was a year older, but Jack was a year younger than me. And I remember playing Little League, basketball, middle school football, and then high school football. My senior year, we had beaten them the year before, and then my senior year, they beat us like 36-0, man. And Jack smoked us, you know. And so when he went to Florida, I'm thinking, you know, great. But then he caught that last touchdown. I'm like, Jack, lucky catch. Jack.
It's crazy the city of Pascagoula, what they did for Florida, because Florida had Shane Matthews, who was from Pascagoula, and Jack Jackson, who's from around there.
Mario Edwards,
T-Buck. Wow. I mean, it was that's great. So I wanted to ask you about that. Gene brought it up. Not only the Jack Jackson crazy play, not only the William Floyd fumble, which was a huge one. I think you guys think you're about to put the game away right there, and he fumbles. Yeah. I think it's 27-14. But also, I think Florida has like a 4th down at their own 3-yard line. And Derek Brooks has a sack that's going to be a safety. And somehow Derek Brooks, the best linebacker that's ever lived, can't up Terry Dean, and he completes a pass that's like 25 yards. They go down and score. It ends with that Jack Jackson touchdown. Is there any part of you, as confident as you were, like, man, we're going to blow this game? We've dominated these fools for 3 quarters, and we're about to blow this game and blow our chance at a national championship. What is the sideline mood like after Jack Jackson's doing his heart attack impression after he catches that touchdown and make it 27-21?
You know what? Honestly, this is the thing right here is I think what makes this. I don't want to sound like that guy, but what makes a champion is that you do believe. And I think on that whole team, we just really believed that we were supposed to be the champions. And then so if any circumstance came up, you know what, the mentality was that, you know what, we're going to play it to the end. We're going to play it through the end. All right. And we believe because every day in practice, guess what we did? We did 2-minute drill. Official offense, we did 2-minute drill, and every day of practice, I don't think we ever lost a 2-minute. I don't think we ever lost a 2-minute drill. And so, if you do that for a whole year, you get a lot of confidence that overcomes even situations like that. Now, in the past, guess what? When we played in Miami, you get in a game situation like that. It's like, oh, not again, because you have a history of that. But then when you beat your rival team that's done that before, and then you play the team that you've beaten the last couple of years, guess what? You don't feel that way. You think, you know what, it'll come back to us.
And having number 17 probably over there running it in the last 2 minutes probably didn't make a thing. And it's funny you brought up the Warwick Dunn thing because we're coming up to that play. And I mentioned to Corey, if you ask FSU fans, they might say that's the most memorable single play in FSU history. It might be that 3rd and 10 when Charlie finds him. But at that point, it's almost like a secret weapon. Like nobody really knows too much about Warwick Dunn as a true freshman at that point. Florida probably wasn't thinking a whole lot about that. And this play, in this moment, they're going to go to a true freshman like that. Just from what you remember that play, what was going on there? I mean, what happened there?
Well, we wasn't going to him.
Yeah.
The play was actually called to me.
So they finally covered you, Kez?
Huh?
They finally covered you on that play?
They finally covered me, man. But the play was coming to me, and what Florida plays, they play a cover called cover 4. And cover 4, the safety sits way inside, and I usually run, we call it vertical play, where I'm actually running a broken arrow across the middle, trying to catch the ball across the middle in the 2 safety high defense. The safeties was inside leverage, and so they wouldn't allow me to do that. And so what happened, the play broke down. But they didn't know that a linebacker covering Warwick Dunn is almost impossible. It's almost impossible. And so they had a linebacker covering Warwick Dunn. Warwick Dunn broke out, and he was open probably early. Charlie saw him, boom, and then, you know, they didn't know how fast this guy was, really. I mean, golly. I mean, I used to hate. I would go into the games, and I would think to myself, please let me get the ball before Warwick gets the ball, because Warwick's going to the house.
Right.
Let me get a couple catches before Warwick gets the ball. But that's what happened. The play. It was vertical. It was called, I don't know the protection, 560 vertical. I think that's what the play call was. And it was 3 receivers and 2 backs and whatnot. And I was running the bender, and the outside guys running a comeback. A comeback. So it was every football people know that concept, and it wasn't there. And then it was Charlie time. Charlie rolls out to the left, and he kind of limps it up over the line and right into Warwick's hands, and then Warwick gets a little block from Tamarick, and
might have been illegal, might have been illegal, but either way, the block counts.
Block counts. No film. Can't go back now.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't go back now.
But I wanted to ask you about that play. We'll get more into that specific play. I was surprised. I guess I had forgotten. Y'all were in the eye on 3rd and 10. You had been in shotgun essentially the whole game, and I don't remember if you started that series in the eye the whole time. But I don't know if you ever talked to Mark Richt about it, or Brad Scott, or Bobby Bowden. Y'all in the eye when you had been going down the field in the shotgun.
You know what? I don't know either. You know, because if you think about the defense, I don't want to get technical about defense. It's a safety back there. You got 2 safeties, a safety back on the backside. There's no reason to stay back there except to come and hit me. And so you think, man, okay, get another receiver so he can occupy that guy too. But, you know, I don't know why he did it. But, you know, this is what Danny Werfel told me. Danny said, we wish they had thrown the ball to you.
Yeah, sure. So where are you when Charlie rolls out? For the people, anybody watching this has seen the play. He almost gets sacked. He does this Charlie elusiveness where he moves his body. The guy doesn't catch him. Might have been Kevin Carter. And then he's rolling to his left, rolling the wrong way, over the wrong, throwing running in the wrong direction, lobs it perfectly to Warwick Dunn. Where are you? Because you're still running your route. Where are you when you see that Warwick Dunn has the ball?
Well, I should be running a thin post at 12 yards down the field. So probably by that time, I'll probably spin around and come back the other way. But I don't think I was, though.
Do you remember in your mind's eye seeing the ball in the air, or do you just remember seeing Warwick Dunn with the ball?
I remember seeing Warwick Dunn with the ball. And I remember seeing the safety coming from the other side, the backside where I was at. And I remember trying to outrun him to get into position to block. And so in all the Warwick Dunn pitches, you see me running. I think I'm the next closest guy to him running down the sideline, thinking about making a block, but saying to myself, you know what? He is not going to catch him. I think it was Gilmore. Gilmore, you are not going to catch him, buddy. You are not going to catch him.
Oh. And then
celebrating in the end zone. But that was, my goodness. Now in hindsight, you look at those games, it's like, man, those things were exciting. It was like, being on the best roller coaster ride you've ever been on, to be involved with those games. It's like, wow, how can you do that again?
Yeah.
So the feeling, I mean, after that play, you guys are done. You've won the game. And to get Bobby Bowden finally, and a lot of modern people don't remember, people give him a hard time saying he couldn't win the big one. And he's finally playing for the national. That game gets him in the national championship game for you guys. And just was it a sense of relief for you guys? What's going through your guys' mind? You were confident you were going to get there, but still, it's being confident is one thing, and actually doing it is another.
Yeah, and you know what, too? I think probably what hurt us in that game, too, that Nebraska game, is that we played Nebraska the year before. Mm-hmm. If you mess around and you win and you get a little bit overconfident. I don't think our problem was going to ever be under not being confident enough. It was going to be overconfident. And I think that game, we came in overconfident that we can, just dominate those guys like the year before. But if you watch the film from a year before, what happens is those guys like an inch away from getting Charlie. Charlie's getting hit or he's having the ball off. It's like an inch before that whole game is a different type of game. And so when you go watch the film, it's like, whoa, hold on a second now. We didn't just kill these guys. They were there, and it's going to be a fight.
Well, and back then, like Nebraska would make the Orange Bowl seemingly every year and get beat pretty soundly by either you guys or Miami. It didn't seem like they had the athletes necessarily to stick with you guys. That 92 team, Tommy Frazier, Lawrence Phillip wasn't there yet, but the defense seemed to be a little bit better. It was coming.
Yep.
And then Tommy Frazier was coming. Nobody knew how good that Nebraska team actually was in 93 because everybody knew you guys were going to roll them. And then I don't think they lost a game for the next 2 years.
Yeah, they were good.
The Orange Bowl.
Let me tell you this right here. In 92, with the first play in Nebraska, I think I caught the first pass. And it was a big guy, a strong safety with a neck brace on that was guarding me. All right? For the first play, and after I caught that ball, he didn't see the field the whole game. I think they put a receiver to play DB that game. The next year, none of those guys. They were all new guys back there playing the secondary. All new guys playing in the secondary back there. All right, and they had Toby Wright and a bunch of those guys are playing right there, and it's like, where do these guys come from in 1 year? And so you're right, that it changed. They were not the same team that we played before in the front end and even in the back end too. I mean, so I don't think we knew what we were getting into because they could play some defense. Treb and Dante Jones. Oh my goodness, they were coming. They were aggressive. They were motivated, and they were playing hard. Probably one of the best DBs we played that year.
And I just want to ask you real quick, Kez. Sorry, Gene. I just thought of this. Going back to the Florida game, I remember seeing an image of Charlie running down while Warwick Dunn scores. Charlie's running down the field, firing his fist, and that was something you didn't see a lot of Charlie.
Nope.
Buzzer beater to win a Metro Conference tournament, he just kind of shrugged like, "Hey, I guess this is what I do." What was he like in those moments, or especially maybe even after that game, or because he didn't show a lot of outwardly excitement, but he was obviously very excited. Just what kind of guy was he after a big play like that?
Same. He was bad. This is Charlie after a bad play. This is Charlie in the 92 Georgia Tech game. This is Charlie after the national championship or that play with or a normal play where he scores a touchdown.
Yeah,
that's just his demeanor. That was it. And I actually liked it because I loved it because you look in his eyes and you can feel you didn't get a sense that he was bugged about anything. If you made a mistake, all right, which we made mistakes sometimes at times, he never got on us. Now he did say hey, he would raise his voice in the huddle sometimes, but not. It wasn't crazy. If Charlie raised his voice a little bit, that was like a yell. Hey, Kez, right. Oh snap, Charlie's yelling at me. Yelling at me, because he just never did it. And so you just kind of respected if he said anything because he hardly ever said anything. And so that was it. And he just, I think it was good. We didn't huddle up a lot because Charlie was just not loud.
Right.
So,
right.
Kez, I'm assuming I know the answer to this, but when you did a huddle or right before a play like that, I assume he's just the same calm guy.
Yeah.
Whether the season's on the line in a single play or it's a routine 1st and 10 against Duke or something. I mean, it's the same guy. But what is that? I mean, as a player, that's pretty uncommon, especially for a quarterback. What does that do for you guys? It has to lower the stress level, right? It did lower the stress level, because you just knew. Because I think if he had an emotional barometer there, it would kind of change our barometer too. But we were all calm because you know what? Okay, this is how we act. We practice good. He acts this way. We're down, and we come back, and he acts the same way. It's the same thing. Nothing's changed. You look over there and see Charlie, and okay, yep, he's there. There you go. We're ready to go. And so it was really for us just a natural calming barometer. If I can use that word, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but it was a natural. Just it kept us focused on just doing our job. We're good enough. All right, we belong here. All right, let's do what we do.
It's funny to think about the personalities in that wide receiver core. From you to Kevin Knox, who was a talker, Matt Fryer, country kid, was a talker. Vanover, who was just this just this athletic freak. And then you have that guy that's throwing you all the balls. So even if you guys aren't happy with the balls you're getting, like, man, he's not throwing to me enough. I want more.
You gotta go to him.
You're not gonna say anything to Charlie because I assume you guys love Charlie, and there's not an ill bone in his body. So you complain to him.
No, you don't. And that's the fun thing about it. I think that was great because of the way you didn't. I mean, it was in a situation where he was trying to do some favors for guys. It wasn't a situation where he was trying to divide the team. Charlie was trying to win, and he was doing his very best. And so you just didn't. You didn't approach him with some of the. I've been in some places where it becomes a circus, and I don't think it was ever a concern of a circus with us because of the personality of the guys. Every guy was there was a team guy, and I think that starts from the head coach, and it went to our quarterback too because it was really a team, and I think Coach Bowden constructed it that way to where guys weren't concerned about catches, guys were really concerned about helping the team. If a guy asks for a ball, it's because I believe I can help the team, Coach. I want to help more. Give me the ball so I can help more. But it wasn't about a situation of I need more balls for the sake of balls. We just didn't do that at Florida State.
Right.
When I was the whole time I was there, it was hard to it was hard. We had some guys that were very, very good. And it was hard to amass a bunch of yards because we played so many guys. So many guys played in Florida State. On defense and on offense, you had 2 or 3 tailbacks, you had 2 or 3 fullbacks, you had receivers that switched in and out. So it was almost impossible for, you had to have an extreme level of experience or talent between the 1 and 2 for this one guy to get all the carries. I think that's the only way you can have that's the way it worked at Florida State.
Yeah.
So, of course, you guys go on, as you mentioned, you beat Nebraska. You win a national championship. You give Bobby Bowden his first one. Even that, just so no one talking about that game, that had to be a little stressful at the end when it looked like you had it. You did the Powerade jug, and then it looked like they had a last shot to kick a field goal. I mean, that had to be, just thinking of that one, a little stressful there at the end.
Yeah, man, it was stressful. You know what? But before that, though, in that situation, we weren't stressful. I mean, when they scored, and then it was time for us to do what we do. All I can think about is, every day in practice doing 2-minute drill. Every day in practice doing 2-minute drill, and they're not gonna stop us in this position right here because we do this all the time. And so the last drive, we were just the same, just like you talked about. Charlie was very calm. Hey, y'all ready to go? Let's go. All right, we were on the field, and we were gonna move this ball down the field. regardless of whatever they did, because this is what we do. Now, the last kick, though, it was kind of, we're in the Orange Bowl here, and I have experienced this wide right thing before.
That's right, yeah.
But it's not on us anymore. It's on them. And so, I was just kind of unaware that this is possibly happening. If we had lost, I would have probably been in shock. I would have probably been in shock of, how could this possibly happen? I can't feel my feet. But at that time, it was just a situation where you just felt you believed.
And for the people that don't remember, Kez had maybe Warwick had the biggest play on that drive. He took a little swing pass, got a big gain, and then got knocked out of bounds for another 15 yards. But you drew the pass interference penalty.
Yeah, I should have scored. Time before I had a touchdown. Charlie, he drew.
Yeah. So, but you were a big part of that final drive. The clock management wasn't great, Kez. I'll be honest with you. They had so much.
We hit the panic button over there. We did.
And then y'all half the team ran on the field after he made it, so you had to kick off from the 20. But even still, you win that game. I wanted to ask you, and then we let you go. I really appreciate your time. Who do you think wins if the 1992 Florida State team, that after Charlie went to the shotgun, after y'all went to the shotgun, so the November 1992 Florida State team plays the 1993 Florida State team? Who wins?
Well, you know what? And I'll say this right here, because I think the difference in those teams with this right here there's two differences. It's a little tailback named Warwick Dunn.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
That's a big difference. And then another difference was this right here. Another difference was the evolution, and I use that word loosely, evolution of the offense.
Right.
The evolution of the offense from one year to another. The 92 season, we were basic. It was like, you found this new sword here that was very cool. It can cut through stone and everything like that. But that's all you use with the magic sword. But then the next year, you got the sword, you got the nunchuck, you got you got all kind of the toys here.
The throwing stars, yeah.
The throwing stars, you got all the different weapons here, and And so I think that was the difference. But the other difference was this right here is the defensive players that we had in the front. I mean, the year before that, we lost a bunch of guys, defensive linemen that were awesome. We lost a middle linebacker that was all world. And so defensively, you lost two starters, you lost two safeties. You got a safety in Devin Bush, but you lost two senior safeties. So it's tough to say, because that team was really good. By the end of the year,
man, I just thought, but I remember watching everybody was in Florida to beat Alabama in that SEC championship game, because then y'all would have gotten a rematch with Miami in New Orleans. And I just remember thinking, man, there's no team in the country with you guys found that offense. They could have stuck with you guys. Plus, you had Marvin, and you had Dan Footman, and you had Carl Simpson and guys like that.
Exactly. I mean, that defensive line was. I mean, those guys were in front of Derek Alexander was a star.
Yeah.
And those guys, Derek played very little behind those guys. And then you had Sterling Palmer, and you had Reggie Freeman, and you had Marvin Jones. Oh, I mean, that's the. And so, I mean, would we have dominated the front? Probably.
This is a serious defensive line, man.
Yeah, we did the whole year. So defensively, we would have been a whole lot better as far as our front is concerned. But then offensively, with the extra, and not nothing against Tiger or anything like that. Tiger is an awesome football player. Work done in that specific role that he was in.
Different ball game.
Different ball game. So I couldn't tell you.
They were both really, really good.
Yeah. I always thought that 92 team might have had the best defense of any Florida State team I've ever seen. They were just, like you mentioned, the players. I mean, you're just talking about, All-American. All of these guys went on the NFL were incredible. Even, like you said, Marvin Jones, even Miami's head coach, is the best linebacker he'd ever seen. So Marvin
Jones playing with Derek Brooks.
Yeah.
Two linebackers.
He could have come in. If you would have come back for that 93 season, that would have been something too.
You
can imagine that. All right, Kez, you've been so generous with your time. As Corey said, man, we really appreciate it. Always great talking to you. You're a great Seminole. It's been fun, man. We got to do this again. Keep up the great work with the FCA, and hope you're doing well. Hope you and your family are blessed, buddy.
You as well, guys. Love you guys, man. Y'all take it easy, okay?
Thank you, Kez,
so much.